Each of these mechanisms serves a different purpose. A bucket policy is a set of rules that define who can access the bucket and what actions they can perform. On the other hand, ACLs are used to manage permissions at a more granular level, allowing you to specify which users or groups can access specific objects within the bucket. OAC, meanwhile, focuses on controlling access to individual objects, giving you even more detailed control. Think of it like a library. The bucket policy is like the library's overall rules, ACLs are like the permissions for different sections, and OAC is like the access to specific books. In summary, understanding the differences between these three mechanisms is essential to effectively secure your S3 bucket and protect sensitive data. A bucket policy is a type of resource-based policy that defines permissions for an entire bucket or specific objects within that bucket. This policy is written in JSON format, which allows you to specify who can access the resources. You can set permissions for IAM users, roles, and even different accounts. This flexibility makes it easier to manage access in a more organized way. On the other hand, we have access control lists, or ACLs. ACLs are an older mechanism that assigns permissions at the object or bucket level to specific grantees. While they serve a similar purpose, bucket policies offer more detailed control and are generally preferred for managing access. To put it simply, think of a bucket policy as a set of rules for a whole neighborhood, while ACLs are like individual house rules. In summary, bucket policies provide a powerful way to manage access to your resources, making it easier to keep everything secure. First, let's talk about ACL, or access control lists. While ACLs provide a way to manage permissions, their granular control is somewhat limited. In fact, many modern best practices suggest avoiding their use because they can become complex and hard to manage over time. Instead, we have a newer concept called Object Ownership Control, or OAC. This approach automatically manages ownership of objects and ensures that cross-account rights are secure. Think of OAC like a well-organized library system. Instead of having a long list of rules for who can borrow which book, the library automatically tracks who owns each book and who can access it. This makes everything smoother and more secure. In summary, while ACLs have their place, OAC offers a more efficient and secure way to manage access and ownership in today's systems. The Object Access Control, OAC, plays a vital role here. It ensures that the ownership of the objects is correctly managed. While you can use access control lists, ACLs, for permissions, they are somewhat limited. Instead, it's preferred to use bucket policies because they provide a more fine-grained control over access. This is especially important when dealing with cross-account ownership, where different accounts need to access the same resources securely. Think of it like a shared library where each member has specific borrowing rights. The library rules, bucket policy, are clear and detailed, while a simple sign-in sheet, ACL, might not cover all the nuances. In summary, for effective access control in S3, prioritize bucket policies, use ACLs sparingly, and remember that OAC is critical for managing ownership across accounts. Next, we will upload an object to our newly created bucket. Once the object is uploaded, we will use access control lists, or ACLs, to give read permission to a secondary account. This step is crucial for collaboration, as it allows another account to access the object without giving full control. Finally, we will enable Object Ownership Controls, or OAC. This feature helps manage ownership across accounts automatically, simplifying the process of sharing resources. In summary, we will create an S3 bucket, set permissions, upload an object, and manage ownership effectively. This hands-on experience will help you understand how to work with S3 in real-world scenarios. When we talk about expected output, it's crucial to ensure that the primary account can access the necessary objects. At the same time, we need to make sure that the secondary account has the correct permissions enforced. This means that we have to verify that the ownership of the Object Access Control (OAC) is properly established. To validate these settings, we can use tools like the S3 console and CloudWatch logs to monitor and check for any discrepancies. A common mistake that candidates often make is confusing access control lists (ACLs) with bucket policies. They might also overlook the importance of OACs or forget to test cross-account access, which can lead to unexpected issues. In summary, it's essential to manage permissions accurately and validate them using the right tools to ensure smooth access across accounts. When it comes to securing your S3 buckets, the primary tool you should use is the bucket policy. This is essential for managing access and permissions effectively. On the other hand, access control lists, or ACLs, are more of a legacy option. They are typically used in older scenarios where bucket policies might not have been implemented. Additionally, for cross-account scenarios, you should enable Object Ownership Control, or OAC. This helps manage ownership across different OAS accounts, ensuring that the right permissions are in place. To put it simply, in a real-world situation, the key to S3 security lies in choosing the right combination of these tools. For instance, if you have multiple teams accessing the same bucket from different accounts, using OAC along with a well-defined bucket policy would be the best approach. In summary, remember that bucket policies are your go-to for S3 security, while ACLs are for legacy cases, and OAC is crucial for cross-account management.